Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. We are at Freedom Fest. I'm with Michelle Lieberman, who I just met, who loves liberty. So, Michelle, what brings you here? Why are you here?
So I've been coming to Freedom Fest since 2008 or 2009. I used to be a liberal. I've been working in the entertainment industry in Hollywood, and I was your typical Hollywood liberal. And 2007, I saw Ron Paul's campaign speeches, and it resonated with me because I'm actually first generation American. My mom's from Malaysia, my dad's from Russia and Poland. Yeah, and so they both come from extreme socialism. And when I was growing up, I think there were tons of stories that were told to me, and a typical teenager and just a typical, like, not paying attention to my parents. And then I moved into the entertainment industry, and it's Hollywood, and I'm surrounded by liberals, and like all of that messaging was like constantly pounded into my head. And then I hear Ron Paul, and he's saying things, and they resonate with things I heard from my parents when I was younger. And then everything he was saying was common sense, and I couldn't argue with it. And so I came to Freedom Fest in 2008 as a liberal, and was just kind of exploring it and asking questions. And to be honest, my liberal indoctrination was so deep that it took me a couple years of reading book after book and watching podcast after podcast and hours of video before I finally could get liberty ideas into my head.
How did your friends react to this? Because you're kind of this convert, right? So Ron Paul kind of spurred this change in you, and then listening to podcasts, reading books, and that kind of thing. How did your family and friends react to the conversion to more of a libertarian mindset? Was there any change there?
My friends in LA love me. So I would talk about things, and when I talk about liberty ideas, I don't scream in people's faces. I'm very nice. Like, my delivery is very kind and polite and civil. And so my friends will listen to me and they'll nod, but it certainly isn't penetrating them. They'll just be like, "Oh yeah, it's Michelle's thing. Michelle's talking about liberty is great and everything." And then they just go back to their lives, and they're not realizing like how it's affecting them, how a big government, especially in California, like all of these regulations and the taxes in California, because fortunately for my friends, they're very successful in Hollywood. So they make a lot of money, and I find that if you're making a lot of money, sometimes these policies don't touch you. It doesn't hurt you as much. And so they're living in a more wealthier, affluent society, so they're not, I don't know, I haven't been able to penetrate. And I recommend books to my friends a lot, and they're always like, thank you, and then they don't read it. But I will say, my Facebook news feed lately, I have been putting out certain liberty statements, a sentence here, a sentence there, and I have been shouted down by a lot of my liberty Facebook friends.
Think about there's been a lot of these very controversial stories in the news where we just had this Dallas shooting. All of a sudden, there's like this race divide in America again. Black versus white, the Black Lives Matter movement. I'll check my feed because a lot of my friends are liberals as well, and they're on the side of Black Lives Matter, on the side we're at war with the cops, and my viewpoint's kind of diametrically opposed to that. Do you think America is divided right now along race?
Well, I'm going to say something that is going to get a lot of my friends, like, their shackles risen. I actually don't think we have a race problem in America. I think we're divided because mainstream media and politicians want to divide us and create that distraction, so we're fighting each other. But I actually, we don't have any sort of laws or legislation that have racial, problems. Like, I actually, and I lived in Singapore for 3 years. I traveled to over 25 countries in those 3 years, just got back a few months ago. There is racism all over the world. Like, I've seen what real racism looks like. There is not racism in America. We just don't have it. Like, is there?
It's more engineered, right, to turn us on each other.
Yes, I think it's a made up problem. I think that politicians use it so that we fight with each other, and we don't actually see what's happening up in government, what's happening, their lies to us. because I find it very interesting that the way they reported on the Dallas shootings comes with a day of Comey talking about Hillary.
So interesting. Yeah, we reported on that extensively. It's very interesting you pick up on that, 'cause a lot of people don't. You know, the spotlight was on Hillary Clinton for 24 hours. This is a bombshell story. You know, CNN should be covering that for weeks, if not months. 24 hours, one and done. All of a sudden, race divide is the topic again. You know, Don Lemon's talking about how he complies with cops and CNN because he doesn't want to be killed. You know, paraphrasing a bit. But see, I don't think it's an accident. You know, I even question at times. People argue with me, but some of these events, I mean, are they even legitimate? I don't know, to be honest. What do you think of Donald Trump? Will you be voting for him? I mean, you're kind of a new convert. Do you like his policies? Do you like his rhetoric? What's your opinion of him?
It's tough because there's a lot of things Donald Trump supports that I don't think is like free market, which is what I advocate for. There's a lot of things that seem like he's not really for the Constitution, but there are a couple things that he says where I think he's telling the truth, where I don't think he's pandering to people. When it comes to immigration, I think he's telling the truth. Like his policy of what he wants to do with that, I don't necessarily know whether I agree or disagree. I'd probably have to do more research. But it's tough because I actually think Hillary Clinton is a criminal. And the fact that we have a criminal running for the highest position of power in this country shocks the living daylights out of me. I can't even believe that we're here. I can't believe that these people can do crime right in front of our faces now. They like don't even care. And
Are we somehow responsible for that too? It's like, you know, it's a tough question, but how do we hold these people accountable then to the crimes, right? If the FBI director Comey's in on it, right, and he's essentially working for the Clintons or the establishment or that political machine, it's like, you know, we have to kind of hold ourselves accountable too. Like, what do we do? And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'm just curious your opinion. How do we hold these people so that they face the fire? You know, same thing with, you know, '08 and '09, the, you know, banking cartel basically ripping off the American public and draining people's pensions and retirement accounts. I mean, basically all those people just got away with it and there was no repercussions. So what do we do with somebody like Hillary Clinton? Is it just a brainwashing of the American public? Do we need to educate more people like it sounds like you're doing a very good job of, you know, with friends and family, kind of getting a different message out there? What are your thoughts?
Christopher, this is what I have been like struggling with because when I see these things happen, because you have a voice, right? Like you have a media voice that's on the internet. I'm developing a media voice. I mean, there's thousands of us, and we've got a small little squeaky voice, you know, but we're not mainstream. Mainstream is for the establishment, and we don't have the huge megaphones yet that Hollywood.
Not yet. It's coming.
Not yet, yeah. So in my mind, it would be education. It's such a difficult battle because like they continuously keep indoctrinating people with their free education, their you know, them having the megaphone. And I know more and more people are going to the internet for their news, for their information, and less people are going to mainstream, but they still have the numbers. Hollywood still has the numbers behind them. And even when you have more people understanding what's happening, you know, with big government and they understand liberty, what do you do? I mean, it's not just through the voting. Like if you see a scandal like that, I mean, if this was the 70s, like what Nixon did is nothing compared to what Clinton
They just
done.
wanted to bring them down, basically. And they could bring the Clintons down, too, if they wanted to, you know, just like with Bill and his, you know, scandalous ways with Monica Lewinsky and all those shenanigans and
Yeah.
lying and all that kind of stuff. You know,
With Loretta Lynch, I don't know.
which I think was actually staged. I think there was a reason that they wanted to kind of publicize that. And that actually happened in Phoenix, you know, at our local airport. But I actually think somehow they wanted the public to see that, to almost relieve Loretta Lynch from the spotlight in terms of responsibility for prosecuting Hillary Clinton. Because she noticed right after that event, that story broke,
Yeah.
she was basically like, well, I'm going to defer, that's what she said, to the FBI's recommendation. Well, oh, that's convenient, Loretta. Oh, okay, so no charges are going to be brought.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's, to be honest, it's just pure corruption. Anybody else doing that in broad daylight in front of everybody, like, everyone would point a finger and be like, do you think we're stupid? And then those people would be charged.
Yeah, I think you did bring up a point even before we started rolling on camera just about how, big money is in media. And that's one of the challenges, right, of independent media is that, not only is that message so powerful, but you, me, we're literally competing with these multi-billion-dollar enterprises.
Yeah.
I mean, that is seriously difficult and challenging to compete with. And, one of the ways we've been able to grow is through support of our audience directly, and I'm sure that's one of the ways you're growing and continuing to grow. I mean, do you think we can get money out of the media and get money out of politics, or is that just a part of this game, unfortunately?
It's funny. I'm going to talk about this in a couple days, but I've thought about media and I've thought about Hollywood and I've thought about politicians, and I'm like, what is it about these industries that attracts liberals? I'm like, is it the chicken before the egg? Do those industries attract left-leaning people, or do they create left-leaning people? And this is purely my own opinion, but because being in the entertainment industry for as long as I've been, I've realized that all of these positions, all of these jobs are jobs of popularity. Like, these people do not make money, do not have success from the value they put into the market. They don't make things, they don't offer services. I mean, one could argue that like actors are, providing a service by being in the film. But I mean, they don't have to be in more films in order to make more money. They just need to be more popular, and then they make a higher rate per project. So they could literally work 4 months a year and make $12 million. And so it's the same with politicians. If you're popular, then you get the job.
Yeah.
In news media, if you're popular, so what's the best way to be popular? It's to say easy things to people. Like, if you're a multi-million-dollar actor and you say to people, listen, you gotta stand on your own 2 feet. You need to go out there and make your $50,000 on your own, and there is no safety net for you, and you need to take care of yourself.
Totally different, yeah.
You need to take care of your family. Like, people are going to hate you. You're not going to get people going to your movies if you say that to them. You have to say, oh yeah, we believe in a social construct that takes care of you and gives you free health care. And same with politicians. They're rich, they're affluent, they have status. You can't say to a lower income American and say, you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Like, they will not maintain their popularity, and they won't maintain their job.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you watch a show on Netflix, House of Cards, really popular, right? Kevin Spacey, and it basically mimics Hillary and Bill Clinton, really. I think it's a form of propaganda, actually, as well, that they're kind of putting into our minds. But they're focused in each episode on basically just maintaining power, maintaining that popularity, and they're not solving any of the nation's problems at all, which I really think is a mirror image of actually what's going on in Washington, D.C. It's really a popularity contest, right? I mean, it's like, what are you guys doing? And I don't even think those people are really in charge. I think it goes so much higher than Obama's head, and people want to say, oh, is it are these the men in the smoking room making these decisions? Is it George Soros? I think some of these guys actually do make the decisions, but this web is so convoluted. I mean, as you dig deeper down the rabbit hole, you find you don't know what you thought you knew.
Yeah.
And it kind of turns your world upside down.
I completely agree. I think there are people in the establishment for the last 40 to 50 years who are there permanently. And these president heads are like, they're talking heads. They come in every 4 to 8 years, and I don't think they're the ones necessarily holding the reins. I would completely agree with that.
Absolutely. Michelle, it was great meeting you, having you on camera. Why don't you tell our viewers how they can find you on the internet?
My name is Michelle Lieberman, and you can find me at www.thefreedomfriend.com for more information and articles, and I'll be starting a podcast soon, and I think it will be under The Freedom Friend. So check us out.
Awesome. And let us know if you'd like us to have Michelle on our live show, which we're broadcasting 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 1 to 2 p.m. Arizona time. And by popular demand, we'll certainly have you on.
Hi, I'm Michelle Lieberman, and you're watching AMTV. It's hard-hitting and in your face.